one.
What's up, everyone? My name's Chris Marshall with my boy Frank G. We are the hosts of Building Empire Podcast. Frank G, tell the people what we do.
What's going on, everybody? Chris and I, we discuss established empires while showcasing us building ours.
Frank G, few things I want to talk about on this episode, our first episode of 2022.
Yes, sir.
Some would say it's 2020 part 2. I've heard that.
Because of COVID?
Yep, a little bit of wordplay, which means, let's take a look of the past year, take a look of the following year. I made my biggest win of my career thus far. And then something that's going on in our hometown that has me slightly upset.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Slightly upset. So
what's got you upset there, bud?
You want to go in right to that? What's got me upset real quick?
Well, we're talking about it. Sounds like
Hey, we're going into that.
We're going right into it.
Joe Gatto of Impractical Jokers leaving Impractical Jokers.
I was gonna message you when I saw it, and then I'm like, this kid's gonna just give me a stupid response like I saw already, bro.
You sound like my girlfriend.
Is that how you view me?
I guess so.
Hey, sounds like she might be a small girl.
Huh. She's very smart. Yeah. I figured you've seen the news and thought of me. That makes sense. I am a very big Impractical Joker fan. I have that show on, and now I have The Office on. Those are my 1-2s.
Thanks to me.
I don't know if it was really you.
Oh, okay. Don't give credit where credit's due.
I am not giving you credit for that. But
I did get a few people into the office, but all right, continue.
Yeah, I think I just casually walked in to the office. It's on Comedy Central. It took me a couple of shows, and then I started it. So the hell with you. But I don't know. I spoke about this yesterday, him leaving, dealing with the divorce and wants to be there for his kids. It's an amicable split. I don't see many divorces amicably splitting. It probably is dirty. What's fascinating is I was in New Orleans on a bachelor party like 5 years ago, right? And, we live where they went to high school and grew up.
Staten Island.
And I was on a bachelor party with older folks who supposedly knew them and claimed that Joe specifically was a sleazeball. So now that's interesting to see that play out.
I've always heard Murr was the sleazeball, to be honest.
Well, Murr portrays a sleazeball legitimately on air, but he also is the intelligence and the businessman and the creator of it all. And I don't know if he's a sleazeball as much as a freak.
Well, then what's a sleazeball? Like a scumbag?
A sleazeball. Yeah, sleazeball is like a man cheating on his wife. Joe is like the fun uncle that
I'm going to be honest. Joe kept that show together. Funniest guy on the show.
Joe is the funniest guy on the show.
Absolutely.
But now what's the story here? Because if you're with your friends from childhood and you blow something up and you've invested 10 years and you have fans, like fandom, people love you.
Yeah.
Is it the right move to step out?
If it's the right move for his personal life, absolutely. Can't judge. I mean, yes, he has 2 other partners or 2 other, I guess, really team members, because they're kind of just 3 of them make the show. But if you have problems and you can't go on, your best friend should understand that.
100%. But
I mean, they're in business now for how many years? I know they're still extremely
10, 11 years. But I mean, you're talking about they did the show. They would do comedy tours.
Yeah.
And he was the only one that ultimately was married as the fame built up.
Yeah. He, like, one of his episodes, he had like his daughter on the roof of a house and he had to smash it with an axe or something.
Yeah, so I can see that being difficult, right? Because
traveling and whatnot.
we said that all the time. If we were to blow up and become extremely successful, it would probably be much more difficult to create a family and have that. Um, I I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I can see there being like wanting to be there for your kids and making that move. But what if there's dirt or something that isn't coming up yet?
Well, that's
I
always
don't.
possible.
Yeah, I feel like when Justin Timberlake left NSYNC,
Mm.
there was no more NSYNC.
Oh yeah, to be honest with this news, is pretty devastating for Impractical Jokers.
It's very sad because I don't know if I could watch the show with just them three. And you can't put in a fourth because they're friends from high school. That's
There's
their
that, yeah,
gimmick,
yeah, yeah. That's the pretty
their
much
shtick.
what got them there. Yeah, yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, their presence on stage, they knew each other, they make fun of each other. It was great. To be honest, at one point, I'm like, all right, I can't watch the show anymore. But
It is one of the few shows that can get me laughing out loud,
it's
legitimately,
yeah,
like
it's funny you say that because I
hard.
have said that because I was watching it like a few months ago, and I literally just kept laughing, and I had a friend over, and then they're like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" And then it happened again. I'm like, I guess this show's funny
It's a very,
because I
very
because
funny
I am like
show.
belching laughing.
It's
Don't
a
even realize
very,
it is a funny
very
show.
funny show. So for a Staten Island native, that was and is sad news.
That is sad news. First news of 2022 is sad.
Um, Definitely sadder than Antonio Brown acting like a monkey.
Well,
I
Antonio,
guess that probably is not the best word, but
I
you know what
was
I mean.
I was going to say that, but I knew you didn't mean anything by it, so I let it slide. Uh, that is, to be honest, I don't know if we know the entire story. I thought his point of view is that they weren't playing him and he wasn't getting paid. I'm not sure if that's true, but I did see
He's
him
saying
take.
he was hurt and they wanted and
Then they
they
kept him on the
called
field.
upon him to play. And
I'm
he said he's hurt, he doesn't want to go in. And then they said, well, you're not playing the rest of the game, in which he left the season.
He left the team. He's gone.
Yeah, very interesting. Tom
Yeah,
Brady, you just see his growth of professionalism, empathy, and honestly, up to par with LeBron James as God's creation as one of the greatest people made.
yeah. I mean, people weren't even paying attention to Antonio Brown. I'm sure Tom Brady was like, "Oh, here we go," and just looks the other way. Get back to
And
business.
he's got to win the game, and of course, he wins the game.
Of course, well, it was, to be honest, they should not have been losing that game to the New York Jets, but it is what it is. They did come back.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I would imagine very embarrassing, but I guess what
I don't. He doesn't seem like he's embarrassed by it.
I don't
Antonio
think
Brown.
so.
He
But
he met a
are you embarrassed for him? Because I'm not. I'm just like
no. At this
he's that
point,
guy.
at this point, he's that. To be honest, at this point, I'm like, how did Mike Tomlin handle him for 9 years on the Steelers?
Well, that guy's a straight up legend.
He is a legend. I mean, he's awesome.
I want
I don't feel
I
bad for him. He's done too much. He's done too many silly things. I mean, how many? He's such a good athlete, and he still seems like he's in his prime. What a fool!
I tell you, when he was stripping and streaking, he was
He's
ripped.
ripped, and everyone was still trying to high five him. I'm like, damn, this guy's on your team. Like he's treating it like it's nothing. Everyone's. I mean, he's famous. He's been a Pro Bowler. I guess that's why everyone loves him. But yeah, no, that's got to go. It's pretty toxic.
Um, Interesting. If we're gonna talk football, Mike Tomlin, Steelers. I mean, to have two at the time most prolific players at their position, and Le'Veon Bell made one of the most worst calculated moves in
Poor
sports
guy.
history, potentially.
I feel bad for him over Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's, I don't know, his personality came into play here. He's just too out. I don't know, too outspoken.
I would feel worse for
Bell's made it to
Le'Veon.
like I don't know, 3, 4 other teams. Just doesn't seem to be working out. I don't know why he held out. Still, we're gonna make millions.
Um, yeah, there. I forgot. Dennis Schroeder on the
Mm.
LA Lakers. I will say, at least in the past decade, outside of Le'Veon Bell, Dennis Schroeder made the worst business move in sports, where he turned down a $90 million option on a 4-year contract with the LA Lakers, ended up playing like shit to make a 1-year deal for like 6 million.
Oof, that hurts the
So
bank.
that's a tough one, man. You lost out on 80, 90 million. That's a tough one.
Yeah, you missed out on some generational wealth.
Yeah, yeah, man. Um, which I guess ties into my biggest win, my biggest dub, my biggest trade in the financial, I guess, sector. I don't know. I made $11,000 in 4 days off buying and selling virtual land.
Virtual land. It is real. Well,
Virtual land.
virtually real.
So now many of you are probably wondering, how do you even buy this? What is this? It's an NFT, which we've discussed in the past on plenty of episodes here.
So you could purchase
And
it on OpenSea.
OpenSea.io,
Mm.
and you own a piece of virtual real estate in which you can do many things with it. You can build on top of it. Many people think build houses, but that's not really the idea. The idea is you can build games, casinos. In the virtual land comes a currency, an in-game currency. Uh, and then you could essentially tax the currency of the games that are being played. Or you can rent out your land, rent out plots. You can stake your land for the in-game currency, which then has USD value. But overall, I held it for appreciation. I had many people in my ear telling me to sell, sell, sell. Ironically, those same people wouldn't advise me to even buy it.
Mm.
And then yesterday, I gave in and I sold, making an 11K profit in 4 days, which is my biggest win.
Biggest win. Is that 2022 already, or was that last year?
That
4
would be
days.
considered 2022.
It's a very nice win beginning. Start the year off.
Yeah, when you look at it in the perspective that, let's say, a teacher whom the argument could be made whether or not they're underpaid or overpaid. But let's say a teacher makes 70, 80,000 pre-tax. With tax, let's say take home is like 55, 60,000.
Mm.
To think that you just made 10, 20% of a teacher's salary in 4 days, to me, is mind-boggling what technology in the future is in store, at least if you're involved.
With blockchain, NFTs, and those
Well,
type of projects.
it's anything, right? I mean, 10 years ago, it was the crypto space, right? The NFTs is just a layer on top of crypto. Before that, it was social media or the internet, right? People didn't have e-commerce stores built.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a thing to make money on. It seems every 5 to 10 years, there's another thing. It's whether or not you're involved and have the balls to take the risk.
Well, a lot of people probably at this current moment would know little about this space. But then again, if it's coming to a Xbox platform, then younger people are going to know about it. So it's a chance for, I guess, everyone to make money. Blockchain coming to video games.
I mean, just the idea of buying virtual land, which I knew there's money involved there, and I may own another piece of virtual land. What is fascinating, and let me ask you this. On my goal board of 2021, I had business goals, I had personal goals. Under personal goals was to purchase land. I purchased that land December 28th.
Uh-huh.
Is that considered checked off?
Well, when you created that goal, When you said land, what were you speaking of?
I did not know of virtual land. I did not have that in mind.
But
However,
but when you said land, was that a space for you to live?
no, it wasn't. It could have been but it more or less was an investment. I mean, we flew down to Miami and was in Wynwood to kind of look at land.
To be honest, it's like that gray area where you may get away with it. You kind of purchased some land. It was virtual, but I don't think you planned on purchasing land and then flipping it 4 days later.
I tell you, I bought that land. I put it up for sale for an $1,800 profit.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it increasing in value and I took my listing off.
Does that mean
And
you paid gas price just to list it and then got lost money?
You pay like $30 to list it.
Yeah, okay.
And then you pay like 15 to delist it.
The first time though, when you list something, it's way more, right?
No, it's like $30. And you can list it, but you can't raise it. You can decrease the price, but you can't raise it. So you pay $30 and you can only lower it. And I quickly, my philosophy on these things is list it at a profit that's higher than the floor price, collect your profits to buy back at a cheaper entry point. However, it was increasing. So I quickly delisted it. I ended up holding out and made 11,000 instead of 1,800. I would have been happy with the 1,800 to see that
money.
To see that go up to $11,000. I tell you, Ankit gave me one of the best advice, and I rolled with it. This was also funded by Mushy God. Mushy God gave me the money to buy this. Ankit gave me the advice to actually purchase it.
When you save money, you're saying he gave you the Ethereum?
Yes, I didn't have it in my wallet. I needed someone to give me it. So Ankit said, is it worth losing $5,000 to potentially gain 10, 20, 50,000? What's more
not
impactful? 10. Yeah, he didn't say 10, but 10 certainly seems pretty impactful.
Well, because now you're putting up if you're spending 5 and there's a chance of 50, that's probably worth it. If you're spending 5, there's a chance of 10, you're only doubling your profits.
Would it be tripling?
No. 5.
You 3x'd it though.
You put in 5,000, you got 10. Unless you're getting 15, you're saying.
I got 15 the entire. Yeah, I made 11K profit with my 5K back.
Yeah, well, you're doubling it, no?
I'm 3xing it. I 3x'd it. Doubling it is 5 into 10.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds nicer when it's a larger number.
Of course. Thanks. But when you look at $11,000, buying real land, that's a hot tub, baby. That's a hot tub and a Rolex, technically.
$11,000 will definitely get you a hot tub. I guess depends on what roller you want.
You get like a little 6K roller. I hit up our boy. He tried telling me one. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of my Snapchat.
It's most likely because you hit him up for one. Or telling him you want one eventually. So as a good salesman, it makes sense he comes to you when he has a rollie to sell.
He's like, I got this great stainless steel, 6K. It's a steal.
Of course you said it's a steal.
I'm like, does it come with papers? No, I don't want it.
He wants the Carfax.
Which, people don't know what NFTs are. Or they think it's just a picture. Kevin O'Leary, who obviously is on Shark Tank and a very smart guy if you watch him, but he breaks it down very simple. He thinks this industry is going to pop as every billionaire does. But he describes the papers of Rolex, the certification papers,
Mhm.
will eventually be tied to an NFT. So that's a utility, a use that a Rolex will have its own NFT in which you can trace it to know it's certified. So, buying a watch off the black market without papers
Yeah.
devalues the watch
Yeah,
significantly.
of course.
Well, that's not going to be the case in the future.
Well, those in a way, and it's not virtual, but those papers are kind of what an NFT stands for. It's the value of what you have, what you purchased.
It's exactly what it stands for,
Yeah.
except you can lose that.
Like physically.
Yeah.
Well, you can physically lose your wallet, I guess. You forget your password.
I don't know if it's hosted, if it's hosted on a website and you could see the authenticity somehow from the. I guess you're right. If you lose your wallet, you lose the NFT, and then it's just gone.
Yeah. Which is a scary thought, but obviously that thing is written. That password to that is written, typed in somewhere, 3 different places.
For your seed phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Before I called up Mushy God to fund my land purchase, I called up my brother, who was an early investor in Ethereum, Bitcoin, bought a house off that, still has 300K worth of Ethereum chilling. Right.
Mm.
Call him up. Yo, Rich, I want to buy an NFT of virtual land. I need a wire. What? Go fuck yourself. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. He's like, and not only that, do you think I keep that much money in a hot wallet? I'm like, what's a hot wallet? He's like a
Sounds like a wallet
MetaMask,
with a lot of
stupid.
money.
No, he means like an app. He's like, you think I keep $250,000 in an app?
So
He
he has
has
a
one of those
downloadable.
hardware. He
Oh
has.
man, yeah, that's scary too.
It's scary in general.
That's something you can actually lose physically. But it is crazy that you can hold $300,000 in your pocket.
Well, that's what Mushy God, when we had him on the show, was stating
He
that
was saying, I do
Bitcoin
remember that.
is gold and that you can put, millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in a USB, where gold, millions of dollars worth of gold is a truck.
It'll weigh you down.
It's like the beginning stage of Mushies.
That does happen. You do feel a weight on you.
Man, I tell you though, you just gotta wait, and the weight's off.
Yeah, once that weight comes off, it's like you're floating, just floating by.
Man, but I asked Ankit, and I asked a few people who obviously are in the investing game.
Mm-hmm.
Is what's your biggest win? And nobody had as big of a win at this time speed.
And when you're saying investments, is this all investments or NFTs, like in your circle?
All investments.
All investments.
So, people could bought
okay, because it could take longer.
Yeah, if you bought Bitcoin 3 years ago at 4K and it's 50K, clearly it's a better investment.
Yeah.
You didn't, but the speed of it, 4 days, 11 grand.
Yeah. I mean, you got wind of a great project that took off.
Woke up today, it was down 5.
Well, I'm sure you feel good then.
I did feel good, but then it's like, do you buy back? Do you not buy back? I mean, it's pain in the ass.
Well, for you to think not to buy back, that means you still think there's a chance it's not going to pop off.
For me to sell, I had some uncertainty of some things, right? It's not people in my ear telling me sell, because those same people told me don't buy.
Mm-hmm. I do see NFT World, at least in the beginning, being more popular than Sandbox.
Much more popular. It's already tangible.
Yeah. And there's multiplayer to it, obviously.
People are playing right now.
Yeah. And I think the servers are 10x times the size of the ones that are going in Sandbox. Pretty sure Sandbox, you can have like 36 to 64 people in a server, which is like, what you did on PS4. This is like 300 to 400.
Currently in an alpha mode.
Yeah. It is pretty incredible, actually.
But here's the thing. And my lady was slightly upset that I sold because she had a bigger like vision, right?
She wanted to make the Sims world on your land.
She definitely did. She definitely did. But she was thoughtful in the sense that she wanted to create like a legacy world, right?
Mm.
And have all those siphon the followers come into the world and build the world up. That could potentially be a thing. That could have been a possible thing.
Yeah, for sure. But 11 grand is nice.
Yeah, but it makes me very sad. I've never been so sad making $11,000 in 4 days as I don't think I'll ever be as sad. There's no $11,000 I'll make where I get sadder.
Well, potentially because you weren't that sad making $11,000.
I was pretty sad.
I mean, that's a nice idea of hers, Legacy World. I think
I mean,
your
bro,
return of
and
investments.
you and fucking Travis could have been in Legacy World betting on the roulette tables.
Betting on the roulette table. He wants me to
Betting on the
gamble.
roulette
He
table.
wants me to gamble already in his world.
I'm only gonna tax a little bit.
I figured you'd be walking down Times Square in your world and our faces on a billboard somewhere, and this is happening right now.
I could do that. I mean, well, I can't do it anymore because I sold it for $11,000. But that just goes to show you the endless possibilities of what could have been that I sold out for $11,000. That is why it's sad.
Well, good thing you can get back in if you really wanted to. I'm sure that's a lot of work to accomplish a world like that. You probably need a team.
You got to hire a builder.
Yeah. Some people build the world and then sell like a pre-existing city or something.
Sure, but even so, I mean, it's so complex, which was part of me selling, right? The complexity of it all.
That makes sense.
Like to fathom how to actually monetize the world in that aspect anytime soon didn't seem plausible to me.
That's why I was saying your investment wasn't that bad, because your return of investment, if you kept it, would, who knows how long it could be.
I don't know. And clearly it's going down. So right now, I'm in Gary V's Discord. He apparently is going to do a drop soon.
Of a new project, or are you talking about NFT World?
No, he bought into NFT World, I believe, but his new project. So if you want to make money, keep an eye out on that. And before we leave the NFT topic and kind of end this show here, I did tell my boss to buy Mutant Ape Yacht Club when it was about 5 ETH. My boss was like, keep me in the loop. Let me know. I'm like, and he's my boss, right? So he drives a nice car. So, I'm thinking 5 ETH to him is what 1 ETH is to me, I suppose.
Yeah, it's who knows.
I don't know, but that's the vibe I get. So I was like, yeah, man, I think this one's gonna pop off.
Yeah, he's probably like, you want me to spend $25,000?
Yeah, he's like 20 grand is pretty expensive, man. I'm like, all right, well, that's my 2 cents. A month later, I hit him up. It's 16 ETH. Ugh. It would have made 45,000.
Yeah, that's tough, but if you can't bet that money in that moment, he's smart, right?
Currently on paternity, he has a baby, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember that. I was going to ask, he's home or not working.
Yeah, he's chilling, but that would have been my bet. I don't know. There's money to be made. I guess really the point of the story is money is out there. I don't
Money's
know,
everywhere.
It really is everywhere. If you're not making it, you're not trying. You're just not trying.
Some people may just don't think like that. They don't brainstorm without someone else's assistance.
I heard someone say, people work like 2-3 jobs, right? very rarely do you see someone working 2, 3 jobs
with a
where
lot of
they
money.
have, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because you're working two. If you can work 2 to 3 jobs, it's most likely because the other 2 jobs don't pay enough. So yeah, you're now working 3 jobs, extra
but
hours to
but
make.
that means you don't have the education to
Well,
or
you can
potential
have.
bad habits.
Yeah, yeah. There's men.
Well,
Yeah, there's a couple
then that's a
factors.
lack of education. If you have a bad habits financially, that's a
I
lack of
mean,
education.
you can have your master's degree, get into a
Gambling
spiral of gambling or drugs, and
in Legacy World.
now you're in a bad spot. But we don't want to promote any of that stuff. Well, we'll promote it as
Well,
a
I
I'm
promote
sure.
gambling if I was
Yeah,
going to profit off it.
I
And
was gonna say you can promote the gambling. I mean, I'm sure weed's legal here. It's be legal in Legacy World.
weed is definitely legal in Legacy World.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Mushrooms too.
I like that. Very nice. Sounds like a good world, man. Should
Frankly,
try
I wanted to create Trippyville.
Trippyville.
I thought Trippyville would have also been a nice one.
I mean, it's appealing to me.
You could, I bet. Before we end the show, my mushroom alias is Fuzzy Winters.
Yes, and
And
mine is Trippy Falls.
so my girl this whole time joined she joined my Discord, NFT World, trying to learn and get involved.
And your name.
My name was Fuzzy Winters, and it was very funny because she hit me up like side DM, and like she looked all good in the picture, and I felt like I was being catfish. And she's like, "What do you mean? Like I'm literally your girlfriend?" Because I have like this stupid ape profile picture named Fuzzy Winters,
Yeah.
and you have this pretty girl just DMing me. I'm like, "Who's this? You're weird." And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
Did you
I
not know it
understand.
was her?
I knew it was her. I mean, it was her name, but like just the way her profile pic was, it just felt like a catfish. So, so she calls me up and she's like, "This whole time I thought your name was Fuzzy Winters," and I'm like, "Huh." I'm like, "That's a good name, and that makes sense, Fuzzy Winters." But then, just talking a little bit, she's like, "Is it winters because you get cold?" And I'm like, "I don't know why it's winters, but Fuzzy goes with winters." And then as I'm continuing to talk, I'm like, "Well, there's Trippy Falls." I'm like, yeah, it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
It does make
It's Fuzzy
sense.
Winters.
It's Fuzzy Winters and Trippy Falls. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's close out the first show of 2022, my friend. I don't know what this year is going to bring, but who knows? Maybe this show will pop off. I guess we'll see. We'll see in a year.
Yes, sir. 2022. Hopefully, big things for all of us. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.